How about a really weird computer? How's it going, guys? Cory the Random Guy here with you today. Well, we have a very weird computer I want to show you. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is the P2 1343W. This is an HP. This thing is very strange. I have been around computers pretty much my whole life, and I have never ever seen anything like that. Let me show you the back of it. You guys see something strange here? Normally up top, power supply. Guess what? There's nothing there. It's riveted nuts. I'll show you guys the inside of this in a second. But this is all you get back here. This is not the power supply, by the way, and I will show you the reason why as soon as we pop it open. You got 4 USBs, 2 up front. There's one of these is your microphone, audio, and I don't remember what the blue one is. You got VGA and DVI outputs. This is where your power goes in. DC input. You guys ready to see the inside of this thing? Here it is. This is literally all that is in it. You got a hard drive, you got a CD-ROM, DVD burner combo, and here's the motherboard. When I first seen this thing, I was like, wait, they call this a computer? I mean, seriously? I couldn't believe it. You can't even expand it to have like another drive or anything in it. This is what you get. Fan back there, cools off the CPU and the GPU. It's got a 1 terabyte hard drive in it, 6 gigs of DDR3 RAM, which is pretty nice. Let's put this thing back together. Now this thing does take a regular laptop charger. I had to go out and get a universal one because I didn't have one for this. It says input 3.5 amp 18.5 volt. Power supply that I bought for it is a 19 volt 4.7 amp. I've been running that on this and it's not hurting it at all. So if you guys ever run into something like this and you need a power supply for it, just go to Walmart, pick one of those 90 watt ones up, or you can pick up the 65 watt, whichever. It'll run it, no problem. So without further ado, let's get this thing hooked up. Before we get into Windows, let's try to get into the BIOS here and I'll show you what I had to do to get this thing to work correctly for me. So how this thing was set up when I got it, it had the UEFI boot sources enabled and the legacy boot sources disabled. So my thinking was that maybe this thing was on a network at some point. It wouldn't see the actual hard drive or CD-ROM. So I had to go through, it was kind of a mess to go through. I had to go through the security stuff, the secure boot configuration, legacy support. I had to enable that, which was really weird, but I finally got it done and I did finally get Windows put on it. Let's go ahead and boot up to regular Windows. I do not have speakers hooked up to this, by the way, so we won't be able to hear it. Alright guys, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but what this computer has is an AMD E2 1800 APU with a Radeon HD graphics, running at 1.7 gigahertz. It is a dual core, 6 gigs of RAM, it is 64-bit capable, of course. This thing was designed for Windows 8. It has a Windows 8 sticker on the side somewhere. I went ahead and I put Windows 7 on it. I tried putting XP on it. I could not find drivers for this thing at all for Windows XP, which is fine. There's really not much to this computer, guys. It's super simple. It's not the fastest thing in the world, and I don't know what the graphics are capable of. I have a few games that are kind of graphic intensive. We'll see if it can handle it, and if it does, then there you go. Let's throw a couple of games on here and see if it will work just fine. Alright guys, while this is installing Underground 2, this will be the 3rd game that I've tried. One of you did comment on my last computers video that I do need to get a better camera. You are correct. I do need to get a better camera. However, getting a better camera right now is not in the cards when it comes to money-wise. We're still looking around for even a used better camera than what I got. Right now I got a Sony Handycam, which isn't too terrible. I mean, I've used it over the last, I want to say, what, 2 years now, I don't know. My wife has also noticed that the video quality on this camera has starting to dwindle too, so I don't know, maybe it's time to get a different one that actually works better. But in case you guys are wondering where I'm getting these computers from, I'm actually looking on Facebook Marketplace. I've actually got a few computers here that came from Marketplace. There's one just below the monitor there that I'm going to be doing a video on. There's a E-machine that you guys have already seen in the first video, and then that small, really old HP is going to be the fun computer to toy with. The server is got bigger hard drives in it. It has 1 terabyte drives for storage. I'm going to format those in exFAT file system. And I'll show you guys that on when we do the server setup finally. Right now I'm just trying to get into the older computer setup. I mean, this one's a little bit newer than the era that I'm wanting to really toy with on this channel, but we're going to push this thing to its limits. Hopefully this game will actually work. You guys are seeing it install now. But we're going to push it. We're going to push it, and we're going to see what this thing can handle and what it cannot. For as small as a board as it is, the small CPU and the Radeon HD onboard video. There is another video coming up too. I did give you guys a sneak peek. Upgraded the zombie machine to this here, the PNY 500 gig SSD, and I will show you how well that is working versus the solid state or the mechanical hard drives. I've done a lot over the course of the last couple of weeks trying to get stuff cleaned up, running, and everything else. So now that this is installed, let's give it a shot here and see if it works. Looks like it's gonna work. Alright, it is loading. Press any key. I got a wireless keyboard and mouse sitting here.
Ooh,
now, this, I'm gonna tell you, this game came from archive.org, I do believe is where I got this. Yeah, archive.org. There's a lot of different programs you guys can get. You guys can get pretty much any game, any program, any Windows, ISO, operating systems, Linux systems. I mean, if you guys are familiar with that site, that's cool. If not, I will put a link in the description below of where I've got a lot of my stuff from. It is a really cool website. I really like that. So let's do a career. And this person has already unlocked everything in this game. We're just gonna go in here, do a quick, let's just go to explore mode. We're gonna run the Lincoln, I do believe is what that is, the Lincoln Navigator, yep. Alright. Well, it looks like it's running it pretty amazingly, actually. I am kind of curious about something, though. Let's go ahead and stop. Let's go to options, go to display. Let's bump that up to 800 by 600. Level of detail is turned up all the way. Customize, lights on, crowds on, underglow, motion blur, turn that off. That's just dumb. Tinting, horizon fog, right? Looks like everything is turned on and ready to go. So we'll bump that up to an 800 by 600 display. Back, let's return to explore mode. Oh wow. So it looks like, guys, this computer is actually going to be able to handle this this sort of driving here. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not a very good driver on this stuff. It seems to be working just fine. I mean, it's not lagging, it's not doing much of anything really, except for just playing, which is nice. Let's jump on the interstate here. Let's see if we can get this thing to boogie on down the road here. Now, this is Need for Speed Underground 2. And you guys can see, it, like, rendering is beautiful. I just crashed into a car. All the reflections on the vehicle seems to be matching up with everything. It doesn't seem to be lagging at all. The AIs are keeping up with everything. It's not slowing anything down either, which is nice. Oh yeah, it's nice and smooth. I mean, you got a little bit of jerkiness there, But I think that's just the game in its natural state, because I actually had this game on, what was it? There was a Nintendo GameCube, and it did the same thing. You know, when you get into heavy stuff, it would kind of lag just a little bit. I think it's just the nature of the game, but so far it seems to be just pretty awesome. I mean, for a very simple setup of a computer, I just lost control. Oh, there we go, I gained it. For a very simple setup of a computer, like the motherboard you guys seen was extremely small. The CPU didn't even have a fan on it. The fan is, oh, see, it's even showing the raindrops. I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's even showing the raindrops on the screen. No lagging. I mean, it's awesome. But anyway, back to the point. This computer is actually pretty smooth for what it is. There's nothing to indicate that it is slow in any way, shape, or form. I mean, it's holding its own just fine, and I really like that. So the AMD 1800 APU with the Radiant HD graphics, it works fine. Now granted, some of my games are kind of corrupt, it seems like. I may have to go re-download them or something, but it's doing fine. Let's do a hard drive test. We'll go ahead and copy this over to the desktop, because my thumbstick for some reason kind of has a little bit of errors going on and it's slow, so I gotta fix that. But let's go ahead and install this Crystal Disk. Basically what this does is it does like a benchmark testing. It'll do the read-write testing on this hard drive. We're only going to do this one section though, and we're going to see what it does. I do have this hard drive split up into two partitions, one for storage and then the other one for your main drive. It's a 1 terabyte drive, but I got it split up into two. 158.75 read speed is the final number. See what the write speed's going to be. And it looks like the final numbers for the write speed is going to be 156.67. It's not bad for something that's only a dual core and 6 gigs of RAM and an onboard video. It's not bad. I was actually expecting this thing to fall on its face or catch on fire or something, but it's holding it just fine. So I guess in conclusion, if you guys run into one of these and it's a really weird setup, I mean, use it. It works fine. There's nothing really wrong. You may have to get video drivers or something for it from like HP's website or something like that, but again, this thing was designed for Windows 8, not 7. It's running 7 fine. This is 7 Ultimate, by the way, so it's got all kinds of different little other features in it too. So anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and we have a lot more computer stuff coming up. Stay tuned for all that. We will see you guys later.